Welcome to our channel, where we update the hottest developments of the young and the restless. Today, we bring a real shock to fans when Audra committed a horrifying act by poisoning Nate. What made Audra so cruel? What secret between her and Holdem was so terrifying that she had to silence Nate forever? Let's explore this dramatic story. Audra is not a weak woman. She always knows how to gain power and protect her interests, even if it means eliminating those who stand in her way. But this time, Audra is facing a real threat, Nate. It all started when Nate accidentally discovered a shocking secret between Audra and Holdem, a mysterious man with a troubled past. Nate initially doesn't care, but as he digs deeper, he realizes that Audra and Holdem are hiding a serious crime. The question is, what will Nate do with this information? And more importantly, what will Audra do to keep her secret? When she realizes that Nate might reveal the truth, Audra begins to panic. She knows that if this secret gets out, not only will her career be ruined, but she could lose everything. She tries to convince Nate to keep quiet, but he won't budge. The more Audra tries, the more she realizes that there's only one way to keep her secret safe: to get rid of Nate for good. Audra plans meticulously. She knows Nate has a habit of drinking wine in the evenings, and this is the perfect opportunity. One evening, she invites Nate to meet, pretending to negotiate a deal. When Nate was off guard, Audra quietly slipped a dose of poison into his glass of wine. She smiled sweetly as he raised his glass, but inside, she was waiting for the fateful moment. Nate didn't suspect anything and drank the prepared glass of wine. Just a few minutes later, he started to feel dizzy, his heart was beating fast, and he had difficulty breathing. Audra watched with cold eyes, but on the outside, she pretended to panic and called an ambulance. "Nate! Are you okay?" she shouted, making everyone around believe that this was just a sudden poisoning. When the ambulance arrived, Audra continued to play the role of a caring friend, but in reality, she was waiting for the news that Nate could not survive. But fate had other plans. Nate survived. Despite being poisoned, Nate was treated in time. When he woke up in the hospital, he vaguely remembered what had happened. He knows something is wrong, and his memories slowly return: the wine, Audra, and her confusion when he starts to show symptoms. A terrifying thought enters his mind: Audra poisoned him. Nate can't confront Audra directly right now. He knows she's dangerous and might strike again if she finds out he's alive. So he decides to pretend to have temporary amnesia, hiding his suspicions while he gathers evidence. Meanwhile, Audra begins to feel uneasy. She thinks her plan has worked, but when she learns that Nate is still alive, she realizes that she could be in danger. Holdem advises her to leave town before things get worse, but Audra refuses. She's not the type to run away. She has to make sure Nate never gets a chance to get revenge. Audra approaches Nate in the hospital, trying to find out if he remembers anything. But she doesn't expect that Nate has already begun his counterattack. He has secretly allied himself with Victor, a man who never forgives a traitor. With Victor's help, Nate gathers evidence of Audra's plot and prepares to expose her to all of Genoa City. The day of reckoning finally arrives. As Audra enjoys her victory, she doesn't know that Nate has gathered enough evidence to expose her. At a grand party, where Audra thinks she has successfully covered everything, Nate appears, no longer the victim but the accuser. In front of everyone, Nate reveals that he was poisoned and only barely survived because of Audra's betrayal. Evidence of the poison found in his system, security camera footage of Audra mixing the drink, and testimony from Holdem, who eventually turns his back on her to protect himself, prove Audra's guilt. The police immediately arrest Audra. As she is handcuffed, she turns to look at Nate with hatred in her eyes. "You're going to pay for this," she whispers, but Nate only looks at her coldly. "You destroyed yourself, Audra. No one forced you to do this." Audra has lost everything: her power, her reputation, and her freedom. But is this really the end for her? Or does she still have one last card to turn the tables? In the world of the young and the restless, no one is truly defeated forever. Stay tuned to our channel so you don't miss any developments in this dramatic story.